Let's start with the basics. This is FW Webb on Bridge Street in Salem, Mass. For those who don't know, Webb is the largest wholesale plumbing supplier on the Northeast, with 80 outlets in 9 states. In 2012, their gross annual sales was just under $1 billion. Webb wants to vacate its current brick building and build a bigger warehouse and showroom on this city-owned land. But before they can do that, they need to buy these 3 parcels from the city. The first is the former site of Universal Steel. The second is this small patch, and the third is this long strip, which has been a public way for Salemites since 1628. Combined with the former Alpha Auto lot, which they already own, they will have enough room to build this. But the selling of city land must first pass a series of city council votes, which are scheduled to take place on January 26. Phew, okay. Now that you're caught up, let's start looking at some of the issues. According to regulations on the selling of city land, city councilors should only choose a proposal that is compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. This is what Webb wants to build. To give you a better sense of its scale, I've created this 3D model of their proposal. The building is big. It will use over 26,000 square feet of space and will be somewhere between 35 to 45 feet tall. Given its scale, flat roof, and lack of architectural effort, this is most definitely a big box store. It's hard to believe that something like this could be built on the very edge of the McIntire district, which is nationally recognized for its outstanding examples of architecture. Keep in mind the families and children that live in this neighborhood. Ask yourself if you would want this in your backyard. Ask yourself if there will be an increase in traffic from visiting customers. Ask yourself if there will be more deliveries from 24-foot box trucks or UPS freights. Will there be an increase in noise pollution or light pollution? Will Federal and River Street homes have their views of the North River blocked by loading docks, parked trucks, and outside storage? Will property values decline? Will neighbors sell their homes and leave the neighborhood? A development like this can have major consequences for the community, which is why the compatibility of the proposal is stated in the city regulations. Even if the city council decides that this is appropriate to this, Webb will still not be legally allowed to build. Why? Well, the land is all zoned as R2, which means that only residential 2-family homes are meant for the area, which is appropriate when you consider all the homes that immediately abut the property. If Webb wants to build, the city council will have to vote to rezone the land from R2 to B4 wholesale automotive. This is called spot zoning, by the way, and it's illegal. But let's say they do rezone. Why would this be dangerous? Just consider a day in the future when Webb may decide to leave Salem. Webb may be gone, but that B4 zoning remains, which means that other B4 wholesale companies can now open up shop, such as Walmart, Costco, Target, IKEA, as well as any fast food chain like McDonald's, Burger King, or Taco Bell. We have to decide now what we want Bridge Street to look like in the future, especially since the Sylvania site is also being developed. Rezoning Webb will set a dangerous precedent for the day when these parcels also go up for sale. Do we honestly want another entrance corridor like Highland Ave? Have we already forgotten what Bridge Street used to look like? It's taken years to develop Leslie's Retreat Park, tear down Universal, and clean up the site. Are we really going to just give it back to a big box store after all this work? Are we really going to sell the public way to a private company? A public way Salemites have been using since 1628? The way I see it, the land isn't even surplus. It is currently generating money for the city as a parking lot needed during snow emergencies, a parking lot needed for commuters into Boston, a parking lot needed for the upcoming probate court, a parking lot needed for the Salem High Marching Band fundraisers, a parking lot needed for the tourists, who, by the way, travel to Salem not for the pipes of Webb, but for the beauty of Salem. Do I think Webb is a good company? Yes, and I hope it stays in Salem. Do I think Webb's proposal is right for this spot? Absolutely not.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath, long about a Saturday night. Yeah, a rub-dub, just relaxing in the tub, thinking everything was alright. Well, I stepped out the tub, put my feet on the floor, I wrapped the towel around me and I opened the door, and in a splish splash, I jumped back in the bath.